Here's a second of my two videos about a sealed event I went to last night. I guess it's a Friday night Magic event, my first one. I pulled some really nice Rakdos cards, so I made a Rakdos deck. I'm a little biased towards anything that is in the Grixis builds, either Dimir, blue black, Izet, blue red, or Rakdos, red black. But I was lucky. The best selection that I had in the cards that I pulled was actually Rakdos. So I didn't use a bunch of cards just because I liked them. It actually was the better deck. I pulled a Mythic Rakdos Return, Mythic Rare. It deals X damage to target opponent. That player discards X cards. Unfortunately, it didn't come up. If it had come up late in the game, luckily in both games that I played in the match that I lost both games. I did have really good mana, and so I pulled my fourth Transkill Promenade. Yet I didn't actually have to use it. Every single time I had just enough the mana that I have for red and black that I needed, except incredibly all the really good cards that I had in the deck did not come up. And that's the nature of sealed events. You can get lucky. If you get lucky, you win quickly. If you don't, you're stuck there taking a lot of damage. I used Augur Spree. I finally, I think, get how to use this card. Yes, it gives +4 to something, but it gives -4 to that same something. Now you have to be careful. If you're hitting a 4/4 with this instant, you'll turn it into a +8/0. It's dead. But if your opponent can play something to boost that card, to put it on the stack on top of your instant, this instant, then you just boosted your opponent to hit you really, really hard. Not a good move. So you have to be careful. You got to make sure your opponent doesn't have any mana available in his or her mana pool. Rick's Manic Guild Mage. I had it. Didn't come up. Nice card. You can pump it in multiple ways. Pump it to hurt your opponent with the -1/-1, or pump it to hit your opponent for life if he or she lost life. Had this card to play, but it didn't come up. Hellhole Flailer. It's got a nice unleash because if you put two mana plus a black and a red, you can actually deal damage to target player. Rakdos Rage Mud is a little bit of a heavy card, but it will give you lifelink. It also didn't come up. Rakdos Guildgate, Splatter Thug, Lobber Crew, which is a wall. I actually used it. I had to. I pulled 2 of them. Annihilating Fire, very good card when you have a limited deck like I did that had a few really nice cards that didn't come up, and then a bunch of so-so cards like Lobber Crew. And so actually I ended up using Annihilating Fire twice on my opponent, one each of the games. I was able to deal very little damage, and that was almost the only damage that I dealt. Chaos Imps is a great card when you drop it late in the game. It's a 6/5, and I was able to do it once. But it can get blocked. It doesn't have trample. Be really nice to have something like a rancor put on this thing, because then it would gain trample. Electricity is nice, but it only deals 1 damage. It's really good if your opponent has many cards. I was able to use it once to lower the pain threshold. My opponent was attacking me with 4 or 5 creatures at the same time, and they would have ended the game, and Electricity saved me for another turn. Clover Brute, the other Lobber Crew. Then in the black cards, I did have Ultimate Price, one of them, which I used. I did have Dead Reveler, and using Unleash, you have to be very careful, because when you use Unleash on a card, it may or may not, you're not going to be able to block with it, and that actually hurt me in one of the games. Sure, I had Unleash, but it didn't have trample. I attacked, nothing happened because it was blocked, and then the thing just sat there. Another thing that I noticed in that particular game is if you play somebody with a lot of flying creatures and you're playing with Rakdos, it may help to have something in your deck that has flying. I just sat there and took damage multiple times just because I had non-flyers and my opponent had flyers. Mind Rot, very useful. I ended up using it once. Perilous Shadow can be pumped to no end. I really like this card. I used it a couple of times, but again, because I didn't have Trample, I didn't have a couple of things that you need to have in a deck to be able to use this card, I couldn't use it effectively. But boy, I mean, one time I was able to pump it 4 times, meaning that I put a +8 mark counter on this thing. So it can become a bomb in the right circumstance. Cremate, you can draw a card. I didn't get to use it, even though it was in my deck. Tavern Swindler, I also didn't get to use it. Deviant Glee, which I love, but I didn't get to use either. Catacomb Slug, which is the one that I exchanged for Vandal Blast between the first game and the second. Stab Wound, I also had it, didn't get to use it. And I pulled a Pack Rat, which I love, and I did not get to use it. Boy, if this Pack Rat would have come out late in the game and I had 2 or 3 cards in my hand, I could have done some serious damage with it, but it didn't come out. And so it just sat in my deck. And that's the nature of a sealed event. You have to be a very good player, and you have to be able to capitalize on every single card. And I did not. I really could have done a much better job of capitalizing on my pool. So there you have it. Gonna do a little rewind. When these cards get sleeved, they look so pretty. It's a little glare in the videos, but makes them look nice. Perilous Shadow. I'm going to remember that card because of how much of a bum it could become. Similar to Liliana's Shade, which you can pump also, but in the case of Perilous Shadow, it's a 1 black. It's not all black, so you can have red or any other color and pump it, which is what I did. I just paired up all my red mana with all my black mana, put them in little piles of 2, and started tapping away. I'm going to leave it there.